Everyone, hi, we're back again. We're back again. But this time I get to share the stage with my wonderful author panels. So we're gonna do a quick impromptu interview with my author panels. So you can see their wonderful book in the back. We have the back of me. We have over here the Transcendence, a collection, Awakening. I know I
Time
just,
transcendence.
there you go. And then we have a Spanish version and English version of the giraffe and her neck. So, um, we're gonna use the mic, guys. I'm gonna start with Mr. Andre over here. Mr. Andre, what made you decide to write a collection as an educator? What made you decide to write a collection of, yeah, poetry? Tell me about it. Tell our listeners about it.
So, testing, my works. All right. So one of the things that really got me into writing and writing poetry itself is the amount of things that you're able to put in a short amount of words, right? But more so when it comes to this particular type of writing for me is I thought about mental health and the value of being reflective practice. And as an educator going through the education program, one of the things that they're always reminding us is we journal, right? We write about the day when we would go to our practice, whether student teaching, practicum, service learning, whatever it is. And so in that reflective practice, you take an outlook of what's going on in that particular day in the classroom itself. And so you revise, you plan out, you think what could be different and improve upon. The next day you go in and you try again. It's not going to necessarily always be a successful attempt, but the good thing is that you thought about it and reflect on it. And so when it came to writing this book of poetry, that was exactly what it was for me, right? Writing and using the experiences of myself and the students that I came across with, and even the adults that I interact with, and weaving those experiences into bits and pieces of poetry. So that's essentially the main reason why I wrote this book, reflective practice, and thinking about the value it has on one's mental individual health.
I love that. I love that. So, do you think that it's easy for parents to do that at home, maybe as a family component?
No, it's not. It's not easy. With poetry, I would say, based on the conversations that I've had with people, and even my own students too. Poetry is one thing that a lot of people dislike, and they dislike it for a variety of reasons. Among those reasons is that it's complex. There's a lot of interpretation to it, and so it's important to understand what it is for. So one of the things is a way to express yourself, right? And it's you express yourself with poetry in short amount of words, right? Or a few words itself. And poetry itself is also left to interpretation. So one of the things what parents can do when they're even having conversations with their kids is that you have to think about expression, thinking about what the young people might be sharing with their parents. So essentially, in that sense, it's really just about expressing yourself on that speaking and listening part of understanding language.
But wait, rap is also poetry.
Yes.
So, a lot of our young people actually will rap and write down things. So you're saying it's difficult. I don't know.
Well, it's
I might disagree with that.
so it difficult in a sense when you just have words in front of you.
Mhm.
There's no beat, there's no rhythm.
Okay.
Where you think about when we listen to rap music or listen to certain songs, the beat behind the words itself kind of give us that
That
want to make us
yeah.
vibe to it. And so poetry is no different. Poetry is no different. It's just the elements that are being added to it. If you take away those elements itself and really sit down and kind of just have to think about what is being said, that may be the complex part. So in a sense, really, they are essentially the same.
I remember the youngest, everybody knows roses are red, violets are blue, and then you continue the end however you want.
Right, rhymes.
So exactly. So wouldn't you say that's an important element of poetry?
Yes, though it's not the only one, right? That's what I've gotten all the time. It's supposed to rhyme. Poetry is supposed to rhyme, and that is one thing that hinders a lot of young people from even taking a step to write poetry or engage in it. So you have to understand that it doesn't only have to rhyme. You have poetry like haikus, lyric poems. Those don't rhyme, but they're expressing a sense of feeling or understanding to a particular experience. And so that's what has to be kept in mind. Now the rhyming stuff, the alliteration, all that, the wordplay, that can come later. What we want to do is give students or the youth the words to be able to utilize, right? And so them being able to put words on paper or utilize these words in conversation, they have that fundamental part. Now we can get into the practice wherein now they can, shift words around, do the word play, alliterations, personification, all that stuff, and still maintain the fundamental aspect of poetry.
So a lot of rhyming, a lot of writing, a lot of free play. That's what I'm hearing. So I love it. But thank you. I'm gonna check over here, move over to my math professional over here. Oops, sorry. All right. So Miss Ashley, tell me, what got you into math? And tell me the statistic of math books around here.
Well, I'll start with the latter. We know that there are very few books, especially for Black and Brown and female-led characters when it comes in math books that are children-friendly, that highlight building math confidence, which is in essence what my book, The Math in Me, is all about. Show it out. Okay. Yes. So oftentimes as a math educator, we get the disdain of math from our students from a very, very young age. I've been in middle school for 17 years. So I am at that middle point where students are starting not to like school. They love it in elementary. They want to go every day. And then middle school, it's like a give and take. If the class is fun, they're there. If you're asking for too much, they'll pass. And this is when math starts to change, right? That's when you get the, why are there letters in math? Like I only had numbers. Now we're looking at algebra. So their feelings towards math start to change. If they had a wonderful experience in elementary school, it's not that bad in middle school. But as many of us probably think back, you had that one math teacher that you just didn't connect with. And that made you not connect with math. And now as an adult, you just walk around saying, I can't stand math. And I wanted to change that narrative. Especially being a Black female in this industry, I think it was important for my students to see somebody who looked like them. That was a female that knew her math stuff and wasn't afraid to make mistakes, wasn't afraid to share my love for math. So this is why all of my math educators from young were Black females. So I was privileged to have that experience. College was a shock for me when
I never had math.
And that's all I had.
I had all males and white males.
And that's what I got in college, and that's when it started going downhill for me. And I was just praying for a D. All I wanted was a D just to make it out. And that was it. And that's when I really noticed how important it was to have somebody who looked like me, whether it be a female or in color, doing what it is that they were telling me to do with the passion that they had. And that passion wasn't there when I got to college. It was just more of, here's the formula, do the work. And they had the passion for the work, but not the students in front of them. So for me, it was very important becoming a math teacher that my students seeing the passion that I had for the content and for them gaining a love for the content.
Do you still think that there's a maybe a little gap in how many females are in the math game or educators?
Absolutely. It is, as the further up you go in the grades, the less females you're going to see teaching math. Getting a middle school math teacher, those of us that work in the school system know it is very difficult to find a certified math teacher for middle school. Oftentimes people that love math, they want the higher grades. They want high school and elementary school. Math gets taught when it gets taught because it's on the schedule and not necessarily with the love and the interdisciplinary connection that it can be, because it may not be a strength of that specific educator. When you're common branch, you have to touch a lot of content area in a short amount of time. And if that's not your particular love, you're not going to showcase it to students the way you do other topics. So middle school is the first place that it becomes its own specialized standalone content area. And middle school students still have that elementary way, even though they think they're in high school, but they still want to be baby. So it takes a special type of educator to do middle school and then to be specialized in that field and know how to break it down for students of that particular age group.
You know what? You just mentioned something. The wonderful thing about this wonderful panel is that all three of you are middle school expertise.
We're a special type of educators, Joanne.
Yes, it takes love and passion to deal with that age group that you just don't like as adults. That you're saying, okay, God bless you. So definitely that's interesting. Now, when little girls read your book, what do they say when they see your cover, when they see your book?
They think it's for them. They think it is them. They look at the cover and they're like, her hair looks like mine. Her complexion looks like mine. And that's purposeful, done with intent. And I'm glad that no matter what the age group is, the takeaway is that representation does matter. And specifically adding in the content of math, that it's really, really important. And in the illustration, you'll see within the classroom, other diverse backgrounds are seen. So it was intentional to showcase that the little Black girl who doesn't necessarily feel supported, who's looking at everybody else in the classroom that looks different but appears smarter, how that can play on her confidence. And ultimately, even though she does, as the ruler tells her, measure up to all of her classmates, it takes time for her to realize that everything she needs is already in her. So hence the math in me.
Ah, very, very interesting. What advice would you give to a young person who struggles with math? Because I know that I have little peoples who actually had that experience that you mentioned that might not like math. What are some advice you could give parents and also young folks?
So definitely, from the parent lens, do not let your child get away with making a grand statement of not liking math, because math is such a big umbrella that we need to have the conversation about what particularly are you struggling with. Because a child may struggle with algebra and be amazing in geometry because they have that spatial view. Like, I can't even draw a straight line with a ruler. So geometry was not my thing, but I didn't quit on math as an entire umbrella. Or when students or parents say, oh, I can't do math, but you ask them what time it is. When you hit the snooze button, how many extra minutes did you get? When you use your debit card, what happened? So you can't tell me you don't do math when you're doing it every single day, right? And to the students, will it be challenging? Absolutely, right? But it's about figuring out also who you are as a learner, especially our middle and our high schoolers. They're old enough to know how they learn, whether it's by video, whether it's by playing games, whether it's about having a study partner. And once you figure that out, then applying the fact that I may be a visual learner, to know that when I'm sitting in class with that teacher, those 45 minutes are going to feel like a struggle. But I'm able to go home and go on YouTube and go on Khan Academy and play the videos at my pace and create my own notes. But the biggest thing is getting rid of this whole false idea that I can't do math. And that is the biggest thing, because you can do anything that you put your mind to. And the minute you tell yourself you can't do something, you will not be successful at it. And you have to celebrate the progress. Math is about progression. It's not about just that final answer. And you have to celebrate it. So even as a parent, when your child goes from a 75 to an 80, you celebrate that like they got on honor roll, because those 5 points for them might have been quite a few sleepless nights, watching a lot of videos, going to the library. It was a lot for them. So as a parent, you also have to celebrate the little successes. And for the students, you can do math because you do it every single day. When you figure out the algorithms to make your videos go viral on Instagram, you do math, and TikTok, you do math. So yes.
That is true. I think you might have to enroll a couple of us into the math reform, because we have to take a stab back at mathematics. So and I'll sign up if you teach the course.
I'll be here.
So thank you.
Thank you.
I want to go to my beautiful Carla. So please, Miss Carla, please tell us about your books. Ooh.
Well, hi everyone. About my books. The first book was actually the one in Spanish,
Oh.
La Jirafa y su pescuezo.
Oh.
And upon coaxing from a friend,
Who shall we
Notice?
remain nameless,
Guilty.
I was then encouraged to create an English version as well. As a child, I always enjoyed stories, and I wrote them, I listened to them, I read the same stories over and over. I'm one of the children who had bedtime story books. I woke up to stories early in the morning before going to school. They were often from the Bible, but my mom would read to me and discuss, and that's just, stories are just a part. I lost my grandmother before I even really could remember her. I think I was about 2, and I would ask my mother to please tell me the stories about her. And as a people, stories are just a very big part of who we are and how we pass on who we are, our values, our beliefs, our traditions. I find that children learn very much through stories. If there's a principle, if there's some type of a lesson, if there's an explanation, an algorithm even, if you embed it in stories, they're more likely to pay attention and to be able to connect all the dots and make meaning from it and really pay attention, and it stays with them. This story is no different. And it's written for a broad spectrum as far as age. I'm always asked, like, who's it for? It's really for everyone. It looks like a children's picture book, but it very much applies for an adult. I shared my book even with children as young as 3, although there are vocabulary words in there that are not generally thought of as a 3-year-old's vocabulary, but now they had an opportunity to learn that word. They know synonyms for those words at their own levels, but it just gave them an opportunity for someone to reach to as far as building vocabulary. But the story, the theme, the message is something that's relatable to any age. What is that theme? It's really about self-esteem and balancing having a healthy self-esteem in light of all the things that challenge us from being able to have that and develop it and nurture it and keep it growing and blossoming, versus the other extreme, which is arrogance and looking down on others and bullying and feeling better than, and the harm that does to self and to the others who are the targets. So this book is really a fun story about how the giraffe got her long neck, but really it's really pointing to the fact that we should celebrate ourselves, our uniqueness, our differences, but at the same time value the differences and uniqueness of everyone else.
I love that. I love that. I love the fact that your giraffe remind me of Toys R Us. And it brings me back to, a nice warm space, the safe space. Every kid wanted to go somewhere where you can have fun. And when you see your book, you can see that just fun, having fun in it. But the message, powerful. Self-esteem, not being arrogant, having confidence, and being unique is definitely something that is worth looking and reading. And the fact that you wrote it in both English and Spanish, kudos to you. Because I read your book when you had both English and Spanish on both of the pages. And I'm still waiting for that, ladies and gentlemen. But kudos to you. And also our author, Ashley, for sharing the love in something and also pride in who you are as a African American, as a Black, as unique as you can be. And also Andre, reflecting on your day. Like we're told all the time, journal, write, but reflecting on what you're going through, that mental health, and the thread that you see between the three is self-esteem, self-confidence, and you're able to do that with all three of these books. And kudos to you all authors for getting some books out, and we're looking for part 2 and part 3. And I'm gonna say my kids wrote their first book when they were like in 4th and 5th grade. So at a young age, so there's never an age for you to stop writing, for you to tell your story. I actually have a wonderful, beautiful young lady. Can you pass me that book, please? Who, her book, the name of the book is called What's on Your Mind. And I was so impressed with this book. It's a collection of quotes and meditation and reflection by Miss Kimberly Headley. Let me tell you, impressed. Because when I read that, she wrote, it was a collection of different quotes that she shared on Facebook to create a book. And just to make you think of the days of the week and also God's goodness and things that you shouldn't take for granted, but just being grateful and just giving you something to reflect, to think, to meditate and go forward is a good and a great read for not only children, but also adults. So we're here celebrating authors from every angle, but also doing things with parents to show them that education never ends. Communication never ends. Celebration with community doesn't end. And we are a village together. And if we continue that stride, if we continue to celebrate who's next to us, who's doing something. I celebrate all these individuals that's going the extra mile, who's writing, who is spending time with the parents and the community members to say, hey, you know what? We're gonna share this time and spend this time with you, just to work with you, to hold your hands, to have that safe conversation with you and your child so that we can grow together as a community, as a family, and individually. So that is our goal over here. I have a couple of other wonderful individuals. So first of all, shout out, you can reach and you can purchase any of these wonderful books that we have here on Amazon. And where else can we get it? Where else can we get it? Amazon? Oh, all platforms. For What's on Your Mind, a collection of quotes for mediation and reflection. And Amazon, ladies?
Yeah.
Amazon, yeah. So please go out. And actually, if you guys want, reach out to the village. I have a couple of free giveaways for some of our listeners. So, and our people, let us know you want a copy. I have autographed copies from our authors. So please let us know. Let us know. So in this few couple of minutes, I'm gonna have a couple other people join us on this platform and share a couple of strategies that parents could do at home so that you can't say we didn't pour out a little bit more. But again, we had 3 4 actually wonderful, wonderful books that you should go out and get. So please, your name of your book, or you have 2. Let me Go ahead. Oh, both of them. Go ahead.
So yes, my book in English is The Giraffe in Her Neck by Carla Jordan Mackenzie. And the same book available in Spanish, La Jirafa y su pescuezo. Same author on
All
Amazon.
right, Amazon, there you go.
And on Amazon as well by Ashley Rozier, The Math in Me, available. Get a copy, makes great gifts coming up for back to school, end of school, kindergarten graduation. Just throwing that out there. Good.
And Time Transcendence, A Collective Awakening is also available on Amazon. So you can check it out there as well. And as Dr. Brian says, you can reach out to the village, villageshow30@gmail.com, right? You get free giveaways.
Yeah, and we have one that's on all the platform. What's on your mind? A collection of quotes for mediation and reflection. So thank you guys for joining us. I want to call a couple other people up here to join me. Miss Felicia, you want to join me up here, please? All right. And we're going to call Miss Sharon. We're back. All right, so I have some more friends to join us. Okay, so now we can see everybody. So I have some beautiful Black queen on stage with me. So, just want to introduce some of them a little bit more on what they do and some things that they can, some ways and strategies that they can help parents to continue that work. So we're gonna start off with literacy. Literacy is the foundational ground. And I wanted to say, what can parents do? What can parents do to help out some of their kids from as young as, I would say, they're 4 or 5, they're starting to talk, what can parents do from young to get that love of literacy, to get that drive, and then what can they do all the way up going into high school? So let's start with you, Felicia.
Well, one of the most important things for parents to be able to do is just to have the exposure of literacy within their home, right? The use of books, but I understand that now we have the use of computers and technology, but there are so many online free resources that students, that many of your schools, I'm sure, are using and you can use at home. But just have that exposure, have those routines that are set into place, whether it's in the morning, whether it's in the evening or before bed, that students are exposed to different books, and not just books from school, right? We want to have the pleasure. We want children to enjoy the love of reading. So we want to get them into resources that they are interested in. So, I would say, especially for young learners, just to get them immersed in reading. There are a number of different strategies that you can use, especially when you're going up into high school. One of the big pieces now is within New York City is that we have a New York City Reads. So it's an important initiative that our chancellor is undertaking in regards to all elementary and early childhood schools within New York City. So just to have them where they're using one curriculum, and that curriculum is dealing with the science of reading. And that is a structure of how we can look and support children in reading, not just with phonics, but also managing all the way up into comprehension, right? So reading is not a simple skill, but it is something, it is a number of different strategies and skills that are kind of woven into one. So I think it's beneficial for just the love of literature to be something that you have within your home, and just have those wonderful discussions with your children on a daily basis.
Awesome. Any advice for like our elves, to get them into reading as well? Any advice at all for people who are dealing with ESL students? We have a new group of migrants as well that's coming in. How can we support our migrants overall with the reading, and what can we do to make them feel a part of?
Well, I think just can you hear me without me having enough of me? I think project like this. I think it's important for just the environment that you set forth within our schools, to have our new, our new influx of students that are coming in. Vocabulary is a big piece, but I think just, through the social emotional aspect of it is to ensure that they feel safe, that they're welcomed, and just having our classrooms not only replicate, just have a culturally awareness of the students that we have within our classrooms. So I think that's important. So it comes in just not only with the literature that's used, but just the environment, the music that may be played to welcome them in the classrooms in the morning, or as parents, just getting involved within the school community. There are so many people within the school that work with our students on a daily basis. So just coming up there, and they are welcoming, and they are there every day. So just going in and just asking and just, speaking with anyone that's involved with our kids on a daily basis, and they will provide you with the support that is needed.
All right, thank you. Now, I have some math professionals also. We're gonna come back to literacy again, but we got some math professionals. We'll bring the mic down. So what are some things that parents can do?
So I've created this list of math resources. I'll be able to see it. They can see it. So there are websites, there are free websites and resources where children and adults can go on and practice whatever skill they learn in school. They have videos that were prepared by teachers. One resource is TeacherTube instead of YouTube, where actual teachers are teaching the skills the same way they learn it in school. And Edpuzzle gives you videos, and it stops at certain places along the video where you can practice, just to build that confidence and to help children learn or continue to develop these math skills. And math is that subject where practice, and you get much better. So I encourage them to do 30 minutes of math every single day until they get better at it.
I agree. Do you want to add on?
Sure. So, ditto everything that Sharon just said. In addition, as parents, just to math aloud with your students. And what I mean by that is when you're shopping with them, sort of think the math aloud. So if you're at Macy's and something's 25% off, do the math aloud, have them engage in, so can we approximate what the total might be? When you go to the bank, you go to the ATM, we often push our child to the side. Oh, go stand over there, I'm coming. Let them be in front of you at the ATM. Let them see the options, the vocab, the debit, the withdrawal, so that they can make those connections between what they're doing in the classroom and how it lives and breathes outside. So instead of pushing our children to the side, because sometimes we know they can get antsy when we're in the supermarket and so forth, engage them in the process. When bananas are a certain amount per pound and we need 3 pounds of that, what is this looking like? Because it is directly transferable, especially in middle school, to 6th grade unit rate and 7th grade consumer math. So instead of shying away, pull them in.
Awesome, great advice. Thank you, ladies. And literacy, we're gonna go back to literacy, middle school, going into high school. What are some resources we can have, Carla?
I'm not sure. I think it was Felicia that was talking about making sure that reading and literacy is not just about textbooks and schoolwork, and having them enjoy reading and the different types of materials that you put before them, or not just put before them, but allow them to see you reading, to read to each other, to read together as a family, and it's not just reading. It's English language arts, it's reading, it's writing, it's listening, and it's speaking. So even if you go to a movie together as a family, or sit at home and watch a movie on Netflix, to have those critical conversations about what you just saw, like, well, how did this character evolve in this way? Or what was the climax of this movie? Or what led up to it? And having those type of conversations, and then it won't be so awkward for them when they have texted school with the same questions that show up in their classwork or in the test, because they're used to thinking critically in that way and analyzing different types of text. It can be going to the museum, going to a fair, taking them to see, let's say, Chinese New Year parade, and being able to think about the colors that are being used and what do they represent. Is this literally standing for this, or is this a metaphor? What does it mean? And so, as Ashley said, bringing the math into your life and bringing literacy alive, and it's not just something that you do in school in this particular class. There are also, thankfully, because we live in such a highly technological world, access to programs and that are educational online, and often that are free. For example, someone mentioned already about Edpuzzle, and there's also Khan Academy. There's also Read UCLA, and one that I want to really talk about is called Common Lit. Common Lit is one that some schools use, but also at home, you can create your own accounts. And parents, you can be kind of like really the teacher. You can create an account where your child or children become your students. You can make a digital class. And on Common Lit, you can peruse, and there's content from different authors and genres. There are different grade levels from grade 3 to grade 12.
Oh,
Once you find content that you are interested in, it might be fiction or nonfiction, there's poetry. If you would select the one about Mother's Day for me, for example, here's a text about Mother's Day, and you see that it gives you, it says in praise of single moms on Mother's Day. At the top of the bar, you will see options for paired text. So you can make a whole unit of study at home.
at home.
At home.
Love
So
it.
you'll have that text, and then it'll show you other texts that are related thematically. On another tab at the top, it'll say related media. And there is an engagement piece where there are videos that are available. Usually they're YouTube videos, and they're short, between 2 to 5 minutes. And it can work as something to introduce the topic or give some background, or to extend from it to build an area where, we want to learn about this some more. And it can be a family study. Like, we're really looking into this as a family. We want to learn more about where did
Yeah.
Mother's Day really come from.
That's a good one.
There's parent pieces that give the parents a quick overview of this text and the material that they should be learning, and even the skills that it will help support in the questioning. And most importantly, because sometimes parents are like, I don't even know the answers to some of the things my children are being asked. It has an answer key for the parents only. It's close your ears. Close your ears. There's also, as they read, options with the text to enlarge the text. There's an option where they can click a button and have the text read aloud to them. So if they're an English language learner, or a child who's struggling and trying to get their reading levels up, or they need to build fluency, it'll help them with that as well. They can pause it, turn it off. And as far as interacting with the text, it allows you to even annotate the text, from highlighting to actually writing annotations, to be able to have a visible evidence of what you're thinking as you're reading a text, which makes the text your own. It's a way of speaking with the author. This Common Lit also contains a section where it has science, text that can be read, and also text in Spanish. So commonlit.org, you can set up a free account, parents, you can set up a free account students, children as well, from 3rd grade to 12th grade.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And Dr. Jen, I know you were over here doing games. What are some quick games that parents can play with their kids at home to tie everything in? Because as much as we're learning, we want to make it fun.
Yeah,
So what are some quick games that parents can do?
sure. So they have some phenomenal websites available. For example, ABCY. It's a learning game app for kids, and it crosses over to literacy, math, and sciences as well. Another one is starfold.com, and also toytheater.com.
Toy theater.
Yes, yes, Holly, we were talking about that earlier. So there's lots of online games that a great one is that I find to be good is splashlearn.com.
Okay.
So it has reading games from pre-K to 5. And when we talk about literacy covers a wide range of content areas. Math, reading,
Yeah.
science, and literacy not only go beyond it's not only in the primary grades, it goes beyond the primary grades.
Right.
Even into adulthood. It's like a lifetime learning.
That is true.
And it starts very, very early. And parents could also be great role models.
Read with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Read with
There's
them.
lots
Show
of
your
ways
Yeah, show
that
your kids.
parents could help to develop their reading skills at home. They can continue to be role models, encourage their children at home. You can keep a variety of reading materials in the home, as well as encouraging your child to practice to read aloud.
That's it, that's it. So I thank you, ladies, and my gentleman, Mr. Andre Doe. Just want to say, parents, you know what? Let's do something collectively as a family, individually. Grandma and grandpas, get involved. Community members, get involved. If you see a young folk this summer, you know what? Take them to the side. Let's do something fun. Take out a game and have fun. Connected to math, connected to literacy, connected to writing, connected to something. Keep them safe, keep them engaged, and you get involved as well. So we are the change that we want to be. So let's model that throughout. Thank you for joining us. Take care of yourself and happy Mother's Day to the wonderful mothers that's out there. And also grandmas and moms who are yet to be moms. Thank you for being a mom to so many young folks. We appreciate you. Take care. Bye-bye.